If there was a YouTube rewind this year, I imagine the bulk of the content would be apology videos. There have been more apology videos in 2023 than there have been apologies throughout the last 100 years of our species combined. And just like my age, that number only keeps going up. It's crazy just how common of an occurrence this is. And today we're going to look at a pretty rare one. This is the shiny Pokemon of apology videos. This one's not from a YouTuber or an internet content creator. It comes from two celebrities that I know all of you have seen before. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
So what are they saying I'm sorry for? What whoops-a-daisy blunder did they make? And I'm sorry to say this, sports fans, because it's not some kind of silly mistake. It's not like they gave like a hot take on anime and got dogpiled on Twitter for it or anything. What they did is actually pretty deplorable. They, as well as many others, were requested to write letters to a judge in regards to the Danny Masterson rape case. I actually didn't even know this was going on. I only just learned about this. Danny Masterson of That 70s Show fame, a show that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were a part of for a very long time, has just been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison for 2 out of the 3 counts of rape that he was facing. Danny Masterson was arrested in 2020, and this trial's actually had a lot of developments to it that I was just completely unaware of, but it's concluded now for the most part, and he was found guilty for 2 out of the 3 counts of rape that he was facing. And then it came out that Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, and about 50 other people wrote letters to the judge of the sexual assault trial to just say nice things about Danny Masterson. I guess the idea was to try and hype him up as like, look at all these positive experiences we had with Danny Masterson. Inside Danny, there are 2 demons, a rapist and an incredible actor with a bright smile that could light up a room. And it's important that we don't overlook that second one. Let's focus on all these great experiences we had with Danny Masterson that we knew. You know, Mr. Hyde was a bad guy, but Dr. Jekyll, he was great. So, like, I guess the idea here was to try and get the judge to be a little bit more lenient or something, like to try and help Danny's case by just saying nice things about the Danny they knew. So an excerpt from Ashton Kutcher's letter says, "Danny takes his job seriously. He is kind, courteous, and hardworking. He treated everyone from the grips to the teamsters to the actors to the caterers as equals. As a role model, Danny has consistently been an excellent one." A great role model to rapists, maybe. What the fuck is this? This is just an absolutely evil thing to say about somebody like this. What? How delusional can you be? He took his job seriously. He even said good work to one of the caterers. I'd never seen such a saint on the That 70s Show set. To look at a caterer and actually engage in small talk blew my mind. I'd never seen anyone so sweet. He was truly a benevolent angel. A great role model if you just ignore all of the rape stuff. Like, holy shit. What in the world? What in tarnation? And Mila Kunis called him an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure. His genuine concern for those around him and his commitment to leading by example make him an outstanding role model and friend. Yucky. Yucky. An older brother figure, and still, she's echoing the same thing, a great role model. He just got convicted of rape, and it's not like this is a case with like a lot of holes in it and it was like some kind of fishy investigation or something. Like this is a pretty cut and dry case. The only reason it took 3 years is because there is a lot of interesting stuff that may or may not have been going on with Scientology being involved. I don't like to even mention that word because that's a very scary thing to even bring up. Mentioning Scientology is like mentioning Voldemort in the real world. But perhaps there were, you know, a few Tom Riddle diary exchanges that led to some shady shit going on throughout this case, at least from what I've read so far. This isn't something where you would see all of the evidence, see the verdict, and start wiggling your finger like, no justice wasn't served here. Unless, of course, you're part of Danny Masterson's team, who's saying that they got it wrong and they plan to do everything they can to overturn it and all that shit. But, like, as someone who was a friend of him, you should see this and be like, oh, this is fucking revolting. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. I was friends with an absolute monster. And then you would not go up to bat for them. Like, you wouldn't start speaking to the great character of Danny Masterson. It's just incomprehensible to me. I couldn't imagine doing that. If my best friend in the world, someone I grew up with, someone I consider a brother, was just arrested and convicted of rape, I would not be singing his praises. I wouldn't be spreading the gospel about what an amazing guy he is, right? I wouldn't write a letter to the judge, even if I was requested to do so by his family, and say something like, listen, I dislike sexual assault as much as the next guy. That's some bad stuff. Rape, boo, don't like it. But he never raped me. So he's not all bad. And also, we used to butt chug brewskis in the bathtub together at the frat house. Like, this is a good guy, and it's just something to consider maybe when you're looking over this and deciding on sentencing. Like, I would not be trying to say anything positive about the person. So obviously, this made a lot of people upset to see them do that. It's craziness. So I'll finally get to the apology video now, but I feel like we needed all of this in order to understand why they're apologizing, what exactly they're apologizing for.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
But you also support your friend, even after all of the rape evidence was being put on trial. Like this, I'm very curious now how much they knew about him. Like, did they know all of this? Because they don't seem necessarily surprised, and they seemed more than willing to write these glowing letters that seem like fucking 5-star Yelp reviews of this guy. Like, even with all of this evidence of the sexual abuse, they're still calling him an outstanding role model, an older brother figure. Like, holy shit. I understand they've been friends for 2 decades, so I guess when Danny Masterson's family reached out to request that they write a letter, gushing grannies over how cool Danny Masterson is, they should have said no. They should have just hard rejected that on the spot. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, I haven't passed the bar, but I don't think this is some kind of obligation they had to fulfill here because there were other people that didn't write letters about Danny Masterson. But let's assume they were forced to. You can still say, I was one of Danny Masterson's best friends. I didn't know this side of him. I didn't know he was an evil person, so I don't feel comfortable saying anything nice about my experience with him. Full stop. Like, that could just be the end of it.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
How rotted and corrupt is the brain of a Hollywood drone? Like a Hollywood fucking clout zombie. I can't even begin to try and process how their noodles work. How can you just say that so nonchalant, like it's not a big deal and not just fucking diabolical? They knowingly wrote these character letters to give the judge a full understanding of the situation to consider when giving his sentencing to Danny Masterson. So they knew that this was going to be used to try and get lighter sentencing for a man who committed heinous crimes. How do you sleep at night like that? Like after doing that? I don't get it. Like, a lot of people wrote letters, of course, it's not just these two, but these two are the most public figures about it. But I imagine they called anyone that ever even crossed Danny Masterson's path, like, hey, it's me, Tim Clifford. I was Danny Masterson's 3rd grade math buddy. We played together on the kickball squad, and he was a superstar, one of the finest kickball players the East Coast had ever seen. Thanks for reading. And the judge would be there, scratching his chin. I didn't consider that he might have been very good at kickball. Maybe we shouldn't be so harsh on him. Like, I understand it's not just these two. Like, everyone wrote these letters, and I guess they all understood that it was supposed to help Danny Masterson maybe get a lighter sentence. I just don't know how you can do that. Like, in good conscience, it makes no sense to me. You shouldn't want a convicted rapist to get a lighter sentence for the crimes.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read. And not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that.
Hey guys, we were just being super evil behind closed doors, and it's a real shame you guys had to see this side of us. We were hoping you weren't going to notice. This was really meant for the judge's eyes only. We don't want to re-traumatize victims. We just want to make sure the person that victimized them gets the lightest sentence possible for the crimes. And I like how they immediately go into an argument no one's making, like, our letters weren't meant to undermine the legitimacy of the claims. I don't think anyone's claiming they were. Your letters are there to serve as a way of trying to help your friend get a less long, less severe sentence for some absolutely evil shit they did. Which is very bad. It's still horrible.
And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
Man, unfortunately, they didn't even do the apology video classic cliche of saying thank you before signing off. You didn't even thank us for watching the apology video? Are you serious? Do you have no manners at all? But yeah, you care so much about the victims of these horrible things, and yet for some reason, a person who was actively engaging in these crimes, you decided to write really nice things about to try and help them. That's really weird. It's hard to believe you now, after all of this. It's just a fucked up situation. Danny Masterson is getting justice, which is the most important thing. But how the fuck could so many people around him willingly just write nice letters about him to try and actively help him in this case? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Okay, let's see the Liver King response. This is, again, a follow-up to the big expose from More Plates, More Dates that revealed in an email that Liver King isn't natty. He was communicating with a coach to get advice on his stack, referring to like the HGH and everything he was cycling, which is a big deal because Liver King has always defended that he's 100% natural. All you need to do to look like him is follow the 9 ancestral tenets. And he has a ton of companies, claims to make $100 million a year, but it's all based on being able to look like him through natural stuff, which isn't the case. So this is him coming out about it. If I had to spitball a guess, I would imagine Liver King takes this directly. I don't think he's going to try and like claim it's all deep faked. He's not going to claim it's reptilians behind the scenes of the puppet master that faked the emails. He strikes me as someone who's going to try and take it head on and just hope that the majority of his audience doesn't care. That's my guess.
Primals, I'm making this video to apologize. Because I fucked up.
This is kind of quiet.
Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. I've stated that this is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous, and after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous, and I never expected this kind of exposure.
That was very frank.
In the public eye.
That's what I mentioned briefly in the video. Way before he was the Liver King, he was still super rich. Like, he was still very rich.
Clearly, I did it wrong, and I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids.
Classic YouTuber sigh.
Yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves. The 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life.
This is all very sweet and everything, but you deliver a message and then sell products based around the message, of which you just admitted a large portion of it, your physique, is a lie. Now, if you were just like a motivational speaker or just like a normal YouTuber, Instagram guy who delivers positive messages, that's one thing. You being on steroids and everything, like, that's not that big of a deal. But the fact that you constantly defended being natty and sell all these programs based around it, and then aren't actually the result of those things you talk about, is pretty misleading. Which he does admit, but spinning it as like this positive thing where I'm only here to try and help all these people who are struggling isn't super genuine when you're making so much money off them. Like, you could still just be delivering that message for free. They don't need to like pay for it if your main goal is to just deliver a positive message. I appreciate like the very upfront honesty. Like, yep, I am on steroids. He didn't try and tiptoe around it. He just came in there and spread the cheeks wide open and letting us see the filthy truth on it. That's admirable. But this immediate spin about how it's all for the people that are struggling and wanting to kill themselves, that I don't put much stock into when you're making so much money off of these programs. Like, that's clearly not the main goal when you're very much taking as much money for it as you can. Hey, Charles here with a little post-game aftermath reflection. After watching the video, I get the impression this is more of an I'm sorry I got caught situation as opposed to an I'm sorry I did it. I'm still not 100% sure, but after watching it, that's more the vibe I got. I wanted to put this towards the beginning of the video just to get this out there before continuing with the apology video. And I want to also let it be known that this isn't some shocking revelation. No one heard that Liver King was on the juice and was like frantically Googling for the evidence because they couldn't believe it. Like, pretty much anyone with eyes and anyone that knows anything about fitness realized that his body wasn't naturally achievable. Like, Jesus Christ, just look at his abs. They look like Lego blocks. That shit looks like it's made out of titanium. You could hit it with a sledgehammer and it'd probably just break the sledgehammer. Most people could tell that he had more juice in his body than a Snapple factory. It wasn't a naturally achievable body type, but he always defended tooth and nail that he was natty 100% and he'd never touched HGH, steroids, anything of that caliber. But that's just a blatant lie. And when his whole product is being sold based on this physique that he's lying about, it seems exceptionally scummy to me. Just lying to his audience and getting them to buy into things under a false notion.
And when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no. I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch the stuff. That was a lie.
Yeah.
I've convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the fuck am I cheating?
But you're cheating your audience. I'm still early, so maybe he comes to that realization since he prefaces it by saying, I convinced myself, past tense. But, like, yeah, you're not competing. You're not going to jail for taking steroids, but you're cheating the people that believed in you and believed in the message about looking like you, or at least something comparable. You are cheating them.
So I continually dismissed it, and I dug myself into a bigger and deeper hole.
True.
I have only myself to blame. I did that.
That is true.
It was all wrong. I will be better. I will talk about it openly because I believe that there's a time and a place for pharmacological intervention monitored and managed by a trained hormone physician. Nope. The liver...
See, like, had his message... Had he come out from the genesis of Liver King, from the primordial ooze of Liver and a King, if he had come out and been like, look at this physique. This is not a naturally achievable physique. I am on steroids. And then started preaching his message, I don't think he would have ever had a problem. He probably still would have found a very similar level. The spiritual pressure of the Liver King was too much for my internet to handle. It took out the entire power grid, so stream cut out there for a moment, so I'll finish my statement here. What I was saying is he would have still found a high level of success if he was just upfront and honest about his PED usage, because he still has an absurd physique. He has a body that looks like 3 Gears of War characters did a fusion dance. So people would have still went to his content for like workout advice and like general life advice, and he has preached some positive stuff as well as some genuinely wacky stuff that people eat up. They love it. So he would have still found an audience while being open about using these HGH steroids and stuff like that. And he wouldn't have had to lie to them and mislead them about what the human body is capable of achieving naturally. But if you're going to say, I'm natural, when you're not, and then sell programs under the belief that they too can look like you, that to me just screams like scam. Like knowingly just misleading them. Yeah, I feel like Liver King's just living in the past where everyone was demonized for using PEDs. I feel like in the modern landscape of the fitness industry, like fitness influencers, most of them are super open with PED usage. I think most people know the majority of fitness influencers are on some level of juice, and they're okay with that.
Why do I do them?
Well, it's not a
When
hard
I talk
question.
about the 85% of the population that suffers from self-esteem issues, that's me. I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay. That have shed light on this complicated as fuck topic. I knew I needed to take this opportunity.
I just don't think it's complicated. He's probably being very honest about self-esteem issues. That's very common when it comes to bodybuilding. But it's also not hard to understand why you would take them in his position. He needs to stand out in the fitness industry. Well, how do you stand out in the fitness industry? You need to carve out a niche. Well, with so many fitness influencers out there, it's a saturated market. What niche? How about something primal? Something like very old school. Paleo diet was huge, so why not something even harder in that realm? And I'm going to really need to look super special to stand out. So you turn to enhancements like HGH and everything. It's a pretty easily understandable reasoning for taking it. Of course, self-esteem probably does play into it because body dysmorphia is so common with fitness. But I think probably the main driver, especially with the emails, makes it sound like it was a manufactured idea from the get-go. I need to get super jacked. I need to be super standout-ish. So I need these pretty impressive stack to do that for my business. Seems more like a business decision. But of course, I do imagine he's being honest that there is a self-esteem element to that. But it absolutely, undeniably, was the main reason his brand was so popular.
I am as sorry as a man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. Again, thank you to everyone for the support, the criticism, the love, the hate, and above all else, the loyalty. Liver King.
I do think he's minimizing the magnitude of misleading people when you run a business like this, because you're selling them a false idea and you continue to lie about it. I think that's a much bigger issue than he's letting on, or maybe he doesn't realize how scummy that is. But overall, it seemed like he accepted responsibility for all of his lying, which is a good start. He didn't try and put that blame elsewhere. He didn't really try and deflect it. He downplayed that quite a bit, but it wasn't a horrible apology by any means. You think he's going to keep using it, or will he quit? And what's your guess on how much muscle he'll lose? He's not going to stop using it. I still think, even though his audience, judging by the comments, is very much on his side, if he didn't look like this, they would probably stop watching. And he knows that, so he's not going to stop. I think he's just going to be more open about it. I think that's the only path forward for him, but I don't see a world where he stops using. Some very interesting news came to light that involves a very popular fitness influencer whom I'm sure you've all seen at some point, the Liver King. He's most known for his videos eating raw meat, raw organs, raw testicles even, which goes so hard. And he preaches the ancestral primal way of living and says that you can achieve his ungodly physique, and his body does look like something straight out of Dragon Ball Z or Baki the Grappler. He says you can achieve that 100% naturally by following his 9 tenets. And he is also a very successful businessman. He has tons of companies under his belt that he claims makes him over $100 million a year. And just a couple days ago, much like my ass after eating spicy food, a big leak happened. Emails between the Liver King and a coach that he was turning to for some advice have now hit the public eye. And these emails indicate some juice usage here, and some pretty expensive juicing at that, which completely goes against everything he preaches because he vehemently defends his body being natural. He has said millions of times now across tons of podcasts, his own content, saying he has never touched this stuff and never would. He is 100% natural. But now we have a lot of evidence to suggest that that's completely false and just a blatant lie. Now, this is probably the least shocking news you've ever heard because anyone with eyes should be able to look at the Liver King's body and immediately deduce that this is not a naturally achievable physique in any universe. And especially not for someone of his age, mid-40s, he'd have to have had genetics gifted straight from Mount Olympus. And most fitness professionals have called him out over the years saying that he's juiced to the gills. And I mean, just look at him. Like, I could swim in his veins. They're so fucking huge. Like, this man has more sauce in his body than a Chick-fil-A. Even when he's sitting down, just look at his abs. His six-pack is more defined than 4K television, and they have more depth than a Game of Thrones season. It's beyond me how anyone ever believed that his body was naturally achieved. It's been very clear and has been called out many times that he is absolutely on the gear, but a lot of people just wanted to believe in the teachings and hope that they could get something similar. But realistically, the only way you get a body similar to the Liver King's is if you somehow get chosen for the Captain America Super Serum or start cycling some very heavy-duty stuff here. Now, what you're looking at here is everything that Liver King said he'd been taking. This is part of the emails with the coach. And if you want a more in-depth breakdown of what all of this is, More Plates, More Dates, which is the channel that broke all of this, goes into very good detail about what all of this is. So you can see there is a lot that he's taking here, And from what I've read, this comes around to about $15,000 a month worth of these enhancements, these unnatural enhancements to get him his body. And I want to be clear here, I'm not just vilifying anyone who uses steroids or anything to help them achieve their fitness goals. I think that's totally within their own right as a personal choice that they make. Yes, of course, it's dangerous, but it's their choice, and who am I to stop them from doing that? If they get medical supervision, of course, that's going to help. The problem that I have here, as well as many other people, is that he's selling a lie. He's blatantly lying, saying that what I have achieved is naturally achievable if you just follow my 9 ancestral tenets, none of which contributed to the HGH that he was boofing up his fucking asshole here to get him these incredible results. Like, none of that is what he is selling. He's not selling any of these steroids, he's selling hopium.
If you want to be a top king, if you want unlimited access to cars, money, and if you want to find your queen, then you have to fuel your efforts with ancestral supplements, liver, beef organs, and bone marrow with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because liver is king. And you already know, with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, always gonna have a whole feast protein shake.
This is a clip from More Plates, More Dates, who made an amazing breakdown on this entire situation that I highly recommend. I'm going to put a link to it in the description. But I wanted to show you one of his advertisements for some of his brands here. And I just feel like this is super scummy because he's making it sound like these supplements, you know, are really helpful to getting you jacked like me, the Liver King, whose nipples could probably shoot milk fucking 50 yards away with how big my pecs are. Like, he's making it seem like he got huge from these things, and now he's revealing these secrets and selling them to you so you can get big and strong like him. But that's not really the whole story, clearly. It seems like he had a lot of help from an old human growth hormone over here. It's not really the supplements he's selling that worked for him. It's the goddamn HGH and everything else that he was taking. So it just seems like he's selling all of these dietary supplements knowing full well they're not exactly necessary, and it seems like it's done just to squeeze a couple extra dollars out of his audience here. But I don't think everything he's done or said is harmful. Of course, all of the raw meat eating shit is pretty dangerous. Like, that's not optimal. That's not good advice to just go out there and eat fucking raw meat. Like, you should, especially not raw testicles. I don't think anyone should be listening to the Liver King and start panicking like, holy shit, I want to get huge biceps and a fucking bulging turtle shell six-pack. I'm going to go run outside right now and skin a squirrel and eat the balls off of it raw. Like, none of that, I think, is good advice, of course. And of course, none of his, like, primal stuff really matters. Like, your mindset of being a primal man's not going to all of a sudden make you jacked or anything. But he does give just, like, wholesome life advice, which I suppose could be motivational or inspirational to some people that need to hear those things about, like, having a more positive frame of mind and a positive approach to living life and making time for yourself and having fun, which is all very cliche and not exactly profound stuff, but he does sprinkle those things in, which is just generally decent advice, like making sure you're taking care of your mentality first and foremost, and not just for gains, but for the sake of just better overall living. Like, all of that advice, I think, is fine. It's more so when he gets into this stuff where he's, of course, blatantly hiding that he does have a past of using steroids and is very much still on those unnatural boosters and pretending he's not. All of that is a big problem, and all of the stuff he seems to be selling, of course, isn't necessary, and it's not like the key to getting big in the first place. Maybe it helps some people, but it's not exactly as he's advertising it. Now, when it's all said and done, I'm sure there's a lot of people in his audience, a lot of his fans, that probably don't care and probably always knew that he was on gear, and they'll probably still follow the ancestral way of living he preaches because maybe they like it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the ancestral shit he talks about, like sleeping on a goddamn block of wood, or being afraid of Wi-Fi signals in the house and shit like that. I think that's all just super silly stuff. He became huge in the first place because of his over-the-top raw meat eating and his wild physique. People wanted to look like him because he looks like an absolutely jacked Radagast the Brown from Lord of the Rings. So people bought into his program under the assumption that if they follow this, follow the ancestral tenets, maybe buy from his other companies that all filter from the Liver King overall brand, maybe they too could look like him. But now that this information has come to light, it's clear that what he has achieved with his own body is only replicatable if you also start cycling that kind of juice. not from following his program or taking his bone marrow supplements. Now, he has had somewhat of a response to this information coming out, but it's a pretty confusing one. According to the Daily Beast, his response was, "In a weird way, I'm grateful for the recent events that have shed light on this complicated as fuck topic." He then followed it up by humbly requesting that podcasts have him on to discuss his lifestyle, and then says, "I model, teach, and preach a simple, elegant solution called ancestral living, the 9 ancestral tenets, so our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express our highest and most dominant form. This is my fight." So it really doesn't say much of anything, just drops a fucking nothing burger on the plate, and that meat is raw. Like, there's nothing here. He doesn't really give any information. It seems like he once again wants to squeeze clout out of this situation by openly asking to go on podcasts, which he's made a habit out of. He's been on more podcasts than anyone I've ever seen in my fucking life. Any podcast you can think of off the top of your head, like maybe your local college campus podcast, he's probably been on it. Like, he has been on everything because he openly says, anytime people are talking about me, it's a good thing. Whether it's negative or positive, like there was a whole conspiracy about him potentially having ab implants. He says, you know what, that's great too, if people are talking about me. So he wants as much attention as possible, always has, and even in this situation here, is looking to capitalize off it for the sake of publicity. So I guess maybe when he does go on his next podcast, we'll have more information on his side of things, but as of right now, we don't have a whole lot from him to go off of, but we do have a lot of evidence that I do think is reputable. I don't see a lot of wiggle room for that being fake. I trust the source. I think More Plates, More Dates is very reliable when it comes to information like this, and he delivers a very in-depth look at all of it. Again, I can't recommend his video enough if you're interested in this topic. So yeah, I just wanted to go over this because I've talked about Liver King quite a bit. And I will say, while More Plates, More Dates has convinced me Liver King doesn't have ab implants, I full-heartedly believe he has had ab etching, at the very least, ab etching done. It makes no fucking sense to me how he's able to have such a defined six-pack bulging, bursting from his skin, even while sitting down. That doesn't make sense. It looks like the top of a fucking grill at all times. It looks like it's made out of actual steel. Like, there's just no way. And of course, now it seems like he's been on quite a bit of juice for a while now, but even with that, there's still just no way those abs would work that way. It just makes no sense. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this topic a little bit, and that's about it. See ya.
Hey guys, it's Sienna May Gomez, and I'm gonna be telling you what goes on behind my most viral TikToks.
Right allegation. This situation is absolutely insane, with accusations flying from both sides.
I wanted to share what I went through.
All I can say is that
Shark.
I was in love with him.
These are the facts, and I'm a witness.
And why is all of your evidence posted and quickly deleted? His friends are painting him as the victim, and he is the victim, but not of me.
Ooh, a bombshell. Damn, the editing here is super intense. I feel like I'm about to watch an episode of Euphoria.
I'm young, and obviously I will not always get it right the first time.
Who doesn't love a good YouTube apology?
I love YouTube apologies.
I'm so sorry for anyone that's been hurt.
A continuous lapse in my judgment.
It's hard to overlook the irony of David Dobrik turning off comments on a video titled Let's Talk. While some apologies may lead to an accidental admission of guilt, others don't even contain the word sorry at all. Some are scripted, while others are very much not.
You're high. You're snorting a line of off a bad my. You know what I mean?
I never saw his apology video. I didn't know he had one.
Online, you get used to a pretty wide range of public statements, varying from sincere and tactful to, oh my god, what are the words coming out of your mouth right now?
Actually, that just reminded me. Jenna Marbles,
Hey guys,
she made an apology video and then quit YouTube, or said she was. Did she actually do that? It's been like 2 years now. I guess so. Damn, she said, alright, I'm out then. Issues new apology to staff as producers are fired. Okay, she also just quit her show, right? So that's pretty fucking awesome, I guess.
I stay grateful and I try to stay humble, and I think that I pay attention to what is important and what is real.
in recent months, her character has been called into question.
Yeah, none of us like Ellen, I get it. Where's her apology?
Reasons. We'll focus on level producer.
Ninja made you, Ellen. Don't forget it.
I gotta keep moving forward and learning and growing. You know, some of the people don't teach you about how to live this lifestyle or how to be here in this position, but I'm learning and I'm growing.
It doesn't exactly take a PhD in psychological studies to gauge who's actually
Way to
sorry
be strong.
and who's only sorry they got caught. Accused of a literal crime probably won't have the best of luck defending themselves holding a tangible, actual script in front of them.
To be fair, it's less of a script and more of like a summer reading essay.
Not even the worst interpretive dance I've ever seen. As a response to one of the biggest TikTok controversies in recent
This is how you do apologies.
Join me in documenting the timeline of disastrous PR choices of one of TikTok's once most promising entertainers. In just under 8 months, Sienna built one of the
this
largest
background music
followings
is
on
slapping.
TikTok, signed with a Hollywood talent agency, secured brand deals with a myriad of major companies, and was even set to star in a Netflix documentary focused on her friend group until a flood
Yeah, and you wonder why
serious
Netflix is doing
allegations
shitty,
from
huh?
fellow TikTok. It was just going so fast. From the span of August to maybe October, December, I was gaining 1 million followers every week to 2 weeks, landing a place alongside
Popping off.
Charlie D'Amelio. After getting along so well and becoming more close, the two began appearing side by side more frequently on TikTok. And as you can imagine, it didn't take long for young fans of the two to speculate on the true nature of their relationship.
3 things I love about Josh: his smile, his optimism, and his way of being kind to me, no matter if I'm mean to him or not.
How was your first kiss? How sweet.
Our first kiss? We haven't had it yet.
You haven't had it yet?
You haven't had first kiss yet?
The vlog say something else.
What weird questions to ask. Jesus Christ. Ugh.
Not unlike YouTube and Twitch,
Oh my God.
TikTok.
How is the paparazzi like a real profession that still exists in the current century? Jesus Christ. That shit is so weird. So genuinely weird. And it's so outdated now too, considering like all of these social media people and celebrities posted like all of their shit themselves. Like their most embarrassing moments are moments that they are capturing and posting themselves. So the paparazzi are getting paid for actual nothingness. Just to take pictures of them holding coffee cups.
Are you guys dating?
They would very openly show PDA, but never outright clarified
Jesus
whether they were
Christ.
dating. So with this
Maybe some
PR
shrimp?
win, I have to assume Sienna must have felt a new air of confidence. After all, it was around this time that Netflix was filming for a Hype House documentary. Centered around the chaos surrounding the biggest teen
Hold on, I'm
stars.
curious. How many TikToker shows does Netflix have? Let me see. I'm curious. Let's see. They have to have like 5 or 6, right? So the Hype House documentary. They have the Hype House competition show on Netflix. Or I guess it's not the Hype House per se, but something like it. Okay, can someone just tell me? I don't even know what I'd search for. There's only like 2? No, that can't be right. They had the Addison Rae one, they had this Hype House one, they had that competition one where a bunch of TikTokers got into a house to fight for like Big Brother style. They had they had another documentary on somebody and I'm blanking on their name. I think they've been doing like a big investment in TikToker focused media for the built-in audience. The D'Amelio family's on Hulu. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe it's all over the place.
On the 31st, Mason Rizzo, a friend of Jack since kindergarten, published the following statement to Twitter, reading, "I struggle with seeing a girl praised after telling my best friend to kill himself and assaulting him numerous times after he set boundaries and then repeatedly wonder why he doesn't like you back. She also has a history of verbally abusing people.
She's young. Come on.
She prioritizes the
Give her a
growth
break.
of her platform rather than the positive message she represents herself as.
Whatever evidence you think you have, either post it or send it to me and I'll post it because you have nothing."
That's so bold. That's so fucking bold.
On June 3rd of 2021, this short video taken in November was posted by another friend of Jack's, seemingly depicting Sienna straddling an unconscious Jack Wright, groping him and kissing him on the lips while looking passed out. The guy next to him who posted the video got up after feeling uncomfortable, but went back to pull Sienna off once he realized what was happening, posting this alongside the clip in an effort to further support the claim that Jack was in fact asleep, or at the very least incapable of consent during that time. Being definitive proof of assault in the eyes of some, this video remains a heavy point of contention today. Sienna has since made the claim many times over that he was not unconscious and completely consenting as it happened.
It does seem like he was.
Another statement not long
That's
after,
usually what I look
something
like
Jack
when I'm
himself
consenting.
would go on to dispute.
The Hawaii incident happened where, honestly, I'm glad that they have evidence.
Nice use of
After
bulldog.
Sienna found out about the video, she said sorry. She said if this got out, she would be done. That is horrible, and she's working
The
on
Bill Cosby classic.
was a victim of
It's
sexual
true.
assault, but not by me. And I am a victim of continual
I bet if they had an
attempts to
earlier
cancel
video,
me
there was
and
pudding.
slander my name with false claims. It will not work. I'm here to clear things up and provide all sides of the story because I have been labeled as a sexual assaulter.
Right out of the gate, Sienna's demeanor is stronger and more aggressive than before. She comes off less concerned for her friend who she just previously said was sexually abused, and more frustrated with how the situation has affected her.
Any video you go watch of us, please, and I encourage you to go watch my recent YouTube videos featuring Jack,
God,
our recent TikTok.
this is so uncomfortable.
You will
Holy
see
shit.
that this behavior
Jesus Christ.
was normal. Online, we touched each other, kissed each other, we were playful. Jack kissed me and I kissed him. Within the boundaries of our relationship, this was normal.
Definitely not doing much to sway people in her favor. But let's look.
I would usually go over when he's unconscious and yank on his winky.
So I went back and took
It was part of our
Not
friendship.
to mention, when I got closer, I noticed her right hand inappropriately touching his crotch. She was shocked that
I would play with his nutsack when he was having nightmares in order to ease his mind.
Next day about the situation that happened at night.
And then I'd spit on his face.
That happens all the time.
And also, why was he kissing me back?
She asserts that he was fully awake and kissing her back, pointing to the way Jack's arm moves when his friend gets up from the couch. Now, maybe Sienna isn't sure how gravity works, but I think it's pretty clear to me, at least, which I have to say so I don't get sued, that his arm only moved because the guy stood up.
No, it's like Weekend at Bernie's. He's
He doesn't
fine.
move beyond that.
He's
Yes,
fucking
it's a short
fine.
clip. There's not a whole lot to
He's
go
consenting.
on.
Come
Sienna is
on.
eager
Come
to point out
on.
for herself.
You claim in your video that you hear
He said
kissing
yes,
noises.
so she could finger his butthole.
Why did you record it? James, you are Jack's twin brother. And I know that if
Whoa.
my brother saw me being taken advantage of, he would pick up the person on top of me and beat them.
That's a
not
classic
film it.
awful
But, I mean,
defense.
that would be a horrible look. They're trying to incriminate you, not themselves. To me, Jack's twin James took this
Eggs and
video
bits
for his
potato.
brother's own good. She then goes on to rapid fire a bunch of points that, again, really don't matter as far as what she's being accused of.
This was also in November when we had first just started to kind of ease our way into relationship, not relationship, defined, and you were introducing me as your girl. Having your friend take a 10-second clip out of context of this entire night is not sexual assault.
She's confused why
All right,
this
case
is even an
closed.
issue at
Fuck it.
all, since James
Run
and
it.
Jack had never brought it up to her privately. This would not age the finest either. In the wake of Jack's formal
She's better than
statement
Amber Heard's
published to
lawyer,
his
though.
YouTube channel about
That's
half
true.
a year later. Sienna issued cease and desist letters
Good to see you again.
regardless,
Hope you had a good
though,
week.
and went on to take a month-long break from social media. The situation died down once again, at least before Sienna made her long-awaited
Yes.
and critically acclaimed.
Yes.
She comes back and posts this absolutely
Let's
insane
fucking go.
video.
An interpretive dance video for an essay.
It's so good. This is how you should
Take a whole
apologize.
month off social media, but now I'm back. Hit him with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance.
Hey!
What is this?
Let's go.
How deaf and stupid do you have to be?
But through struggle, I found clarity within myself.
God, apology videos are always amazing, but this one I still think is one of the best.
I don't have anything to add. This
Fucking
is literally the
epic.
worst response to any controversy I have ever seen.
So good.
Somehow, Sienna May's PR team figured that shooting a highly stylized interpretive dance to a song which contains the lyrics, "I did nothing wrong, I'm young," would be an appropriate response to SA allegations. God,
and it
I'd love
was.
to be a fly on a wall during that meeting. It's like getting up in the middle of your trial and doing the Squidward dance. I mean, if you go to Google tone deaf right now, a link to her video pops up. For God's sake, she starts off with a close-up shot of her push to start.
Even if I can only inspire one person, I will have done what I was put on this earth to do.
It's very Sia-esque.
Before launching into the worst dance moves a human being is capable of. Needless to say, this video convinced everyone she was...
Didn't Amber Turd just fire her whole PR team? Maybe there's a chance we see in trial her break out the interpretive dance like as a last-ditch Hail Mary. I don't want this to be the last one. It can't die here. I really think there's a lot of potential with the apology interpretive dances. So, fingers crossed. I really think we got a good chance there.
The Hawaii incident happened.
Jack can confirm that he was in fact passed out, unconscious, almost the whole
I can't
night,
believe
and
that. That looks like a fully conscious man to me.
Most vulnerable state. Two friends escorted her out of the party since she had also been causing additional problems that night, but resorted to jumping and rolling out of a moving vehicle to get back.
I forgot about that.
He was hiding from Sienna in the house. According to him, her parents had to.
That was like full blown like Jason Statham stunts.
And I don't know. It was just like normal for me that I didn't think there was such like a problem at all. Like part of me wants to blame myself for being nice and sticking around after so many times. But now I realize that I was stuck in this like manipulative cycle of her acting like she extremely cared about me.
Yeah, she's like a fucking supervillain.
She would do stuff to
wanting
me, and it was
to fuck
just
Jack.
so normal for me. I got used to it.
Painting a horrific picture of waking up in the middle of the night.
How does all this happen before you raise a red flag, though? You've clearly not been around a ton of people. People you think are a friend, you'll ignore a ton of flags for. Happens all the time, even if it's not romantic. I am holding in a pee-pee really badly, though, so I'm gonna go tinkle real quick, and I'll be right back.
On February 23rd, 2022, Sienna May returned to the public eye with an appearance on the BFFs podcast hosted by Dave Portnoy, the CEO of Barstool Sports, who you may remember is a proud investor of the infamous crypto coin SafeMoon, which turned out to be a worthless pyramid scheme.
Hey, SafeMooners!
To fire and sue his employees on the spot for wanting to unionize. Or you may know his abundant legal history. Whatever the case may be, Dave Portnoy, alongside his co-hosts who are half his age, brought Sienna back on the program after having her on just a year prior.
Right. I actually saw Dave Portnoy in real world once when we went to that god-awful fucking Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather fight. Dave Portnoy was there, and he was leaving the stadium, and one person asked for a picture with him, so he turned around and asked if anyone else wanted a picture with him, and nobody said anything. That's the only experience I've had with Dave Portnoy. It was fucking awesome. Yeah, I like his pizza reviews, though. I don't know too much about the guy, but that situation was pretty awesome. Shit was great.
I want to talk about my emotional state, and like I feel like what I want to touch on is like how I'm doing and like the emotional questions that I know you guys are gonna ask. But as for like the legal and like the so what's going on questions, that's for them to answer, because like I don't want to. I'm trying to. I don't want to butcher anything. This is all like now it's serious, you know, like. Social media.
What a blunder.
Okay, yeah. So
why would you go to an interview on something like this and bring lawyers? That just makes it look significantly worse. Hey, Charlie, you did something bad. Do you want to talk about it? Yeah. And I'm bringing an entire legal team, too. Okay.
You guys and whoever's going to see this now, that there's nothing being done. Like, I just
why does that
kind of like,
what?
All right, I'm gonna let my team like just talk about this one and kind of like.
She is the worst PR team of all
Team
time.
that told you to do the interpretive dance.
Holy shit!
I'm thinking you should probably be worried. When the two had never even gotten to the point of dating, he made it clear he did not want to be with her, and she still persisted, according to what's been claimed.
I like really loved him, and I was like, I'm gonna get married to this guy. Like, this is the one. Like, I was so stoked on him. Man,
that is such weird behavior. Bro, if this was a guy saying this. It would be much differently received. This is like actual incel shit. They were never even dating or anything. At all. Talking about like marriage and shit. This is the one. He's a prime. Kismo, Thebe, and Dermot. Yeah, that is like real stalkerish behavior right there.
Sienna likes to emphasize that the two had never had sex, as if this was ever something Jack claimed, and I'm surprised Sienna keeps harping on it, even with her lawyer sitting right next to her. She absolutely cannot, for some reason, answer Dave's question of, well, did you know he wasn't
into it and you're still pursuing it?
Instead, all of her answers are keeping the best interests of Sienna in mind, and how
Wait, does she have two lawyers here?
Her answers are
Wait, is this one of the normal hosts on Portnoy's show? This doesn't seem like the company Dave Portnoy would keep. She brought two lawyers? What the fuck? Hey, can I get Saul Goodman over here and then, I don't know, someone else, please? I really need to make an impression.
Are keeping the best interests of Sienna.
Oh my god, you're right. Wait, they are in the same room, all of them.
And you're still pursuing it?
Instead, all of her answers are...
Yeah, you're right. It's the same plants. I knew she was here because she reached out and patted her on the shoulder or whatever, or slapped her in the face, God only knows. But yeah, I didn't realize this guy's in the same place too, unless he has just been like deep faked in here.
The National Center for Audio and Video Forensics was retained to perform an analysis on a cell phone video posted to social media. I was asked if the video could be used as credible evidence of the accusations against Ms. Gomez. In short, no. The posted video is not credible evidence of these accusations. The video is not original. The video has been heavily altered. The video
based on what?
No context to the events.
Wait, how did...
The video is not credible.
Well, I think we need to clarify in these first two statements. This would be huge if you can prove the video has been heavily altered. You're telling me someone actually did CGI this shit in here? You're gonna need to, like, clarify here. That would blow this whole thing wide open. The video doesn't exist. Yeah. Point 5. The video is not real. In fact, nothing's real. What is solipsism?
Of the accusations against Ms. Gomez.
I feel like that was a bad CSI video. I mean, my instinct is people are going to be like, that's a guilty video. It felt like a bad movie.
Actually very funny. They shred this video in front of the guy who made it. But I have to say, it's hard to deny the video is short and doesn't show the events leading up to and after what is taking place. She repeatedly chose to take advantage of Jack Wright when he was at his most vulnerable, keeping him at arm's length no matter where they went due to her bizarre, ignorant, and selfish infatuation with a boy who clearly didn't reciprocate feelings. I personally believe the latter. After everything Jack has said and personally testified against, it's hard for me to look at this video as anything other than the truth, even if saying that could get me crucified by Sienna's legal team. However,
I don't know, man. Her legal team doesn't seem that adept. This guy actually put together a fucking CSGO montage to prove why the video is bad without any evidence. He just said 4 points. It's not original. It's heavily altered. Like, with nothing else there. It's kind of worthless.
It doesn't matter how young and inexperienced Sienna was when she goes to such extreme lengths to keep Jack and her critics at bay, as to not damage the precious reputation she's built on a mountain of lies and sick dance moves.
God, their dance apology is so fucking good. I love it. I wish more people would do that. That was interesting. The person who edited that dance was my hero. Oh, you talking about like the Banjo-Kazooie sound effects? Yeah, that was pretty cool. Do you think clout prolongs relationship? Oh, do you think clout prolonged their relationship? I mean, yeah, it was a business. They were both profiting off pretending to be together or whatever. Yes, of course. I'm sure most of you know by now, I love watching bad YouTuber apologies, and they're all horrible. I swear to God, the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's appear more emotional than the fucking YouTubers when they're apologizing. It is the goofiest shit in the world, but that has nothing on TikTok apologies. They're in a totally different dimension, a realm all of their own. It's like everyone on TikTok has been trained by Tommy Wiseau when it comes to acting. Like, it literally sounds and looks like NPCs in Skyrim communicating. Like, there was a dude who got outed as like a child predator or something, and his apology, his response video was him reading off of note cards like he was in middle school class giving a presentation on like chemical bonds. And he's just sitting there, he's like, yes, I did this, but doesn't mean you can be mean to me. Flips. Please stop being mean to me. Flips. Like, it's fucking crazy. So recently, about 5 or 6 months ago, a massive TikTok star named Sienna May was accused of sexually assaulting another TikTok star named Jack Wright. There were videos that came out that showed Sienna doing questionable things to Jack Wright's body while he was unconscious, and there's just a lot of evidence that led to these allegations against her. And recently, like 5 or 6 days ago, he made a video finally going over everything, and it's really sad. It is really just a very sad, awful situation. And I actually knew about this about 5 or 6 months ago because she released the worst apology video I think I've ever seen. And I don't say that lightly. I feel like I say that every time a new apology video comes out, but somehow they just keep getting worse. And I don't think anything's gonna beat Sienna May's. She took it down today, unfortunately, so the only way I'm gonna be able to show it to you is when we watched it on stream, twitch.tv/MoistCritical. Come stop by, put a few extra inches on your penis, put a link in the description. So I'm going to show you that and then go over it a bit further. So I do remember her because Mr. Beard made a video on her apology. We even watched the apology on stream. She's the one that did the interpretive dance. I'm young and did nothing wrong. With the sexual assault allegation. I remember her now.
I decided to take a month off of social media due to the negativity surrounding my platform. It was honestly one of the most difficult times in my life for many reasons. But through struggle, I found clarity within myself and with who
And then she hits a Gangnam Style here in a minute. Right away, I love how she says taking a month off social media was the hardest time in her life. What a privileged life to live where that's your biggest struggle. You can't go on TikTok for a month. Fuck. What a nightmare. You'll soon notice this isn't really an apology video, it's just like a ballet recital. She doesn't really say sorry for anything at all, and she makes herself the victim in the situation. Like, I had to take a whole month off social media. I just needed to clear my head from all the negativity, which I didn't deserve.
To create. And whether that's silly TikTok dances or showing unedited photos of myself, creating and inspiring, now more than ever, I feel proud of the person that I am. Even if I can only inspire one person, I will have done what I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah, this is all very inspirational. It's motivated me to climb a mountain. But what does it have to do with anything at all? I mean, yeah, this is obviously very powerful. It's putting tears in my eyes with how motivational it is, but what does it have to do with anything? It doesn't address anything. It does nothing. This is like if the feds came up to me and they're like, hey, Charlie, we caught you on camera burning down this Toys R Us. We know you're an arsonist. We have it right here. And my response is, I just love to create. I love to inspire and show unedited photos of myself. And if I can just inspire one person, then I'll have done what I set out on this earth to do. Hit him with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance. Like, oh God, guess we got the wrong guy. He's not guilty, he just popped and locked on us.
We're all learning and growing, and more than anything, I'm beyond thankful for my family, friends, partnerships, and supporters.
I love how she shouts out her sponsors in the apology.
A lot of people my age can relate to. I hope this can inspire you.
Really appreciate Raid Shadow Legends through thick and thin here. Like, how can you not forgive her after this?
Watching me, judging me, making me feel hate the wanna do it.
I'm convinced she did nothing wrong. I was very inspired. Not a single apology here, making sure to let the sponsors know that she still appreciates them so they don't feel left out here. Overall, I mean, it doesn't get better than that. That is about as good as it gets, I'd say. The song she chose couldn't have been worse, I'd say. Like, the very end is, I did nothing wrong, I'm young, and she's accused of sexual assault. Like, this is probably not the song you'd want to use. Feels really off, given the circumstance for why she's doing this. It's really a fucking weird choice. It almost feels like she's rubbing Jack's face in the whole situation. She makes herself the victim and then tries to spin this whole thing as a way of making herself like the hero of the story. Like, I had to take a whole month off social media, but now I'm back to inspire. Now, even beyond this horribly choreographed Broadway dance number, she released a series of videos saying the allegations were false and lies, just outright denying any of it ever happened, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. So the whole thing has been just a big, gross mess. But yeah, I mainly just wanted to show you that apology because I think it's going to be a pretty tough one for someone to beat. This was very egotistical, and it wasn't an apology. I don't know why I even keep calling it that. This was her, like, victim blaming and making the whole situation a way of trying to like become more popular from it almost. I don't know. It was just fucking stupid, and I just had to at least show you all this whole situation, and that's about it. So yeah, when you think of an apology video, you probably picture some stinky, goofy YouTuber petting their dog and fake crying, just trying to appear remorseful, and it's always just embarrassing, looking like some shit out of South Park where they're like tweaking on their nipples and saying, "I'm sorry." Because for a long time, YouTubers have had a monopoly on shitty apology videos. Until today. Travis Scott, the famous rapper most known for his McDonald's meal, the Travis Scott Burger, has proven himself to be an innovator not only in avoidable concert-related deaths, but also in shitty apology videos. He posted his own bad apology video on Instagram today, and I thought it's only fair that we look at it. Now, I'm sure you already know, but Travis Scott was addressing the tragedy that happened at his concert Astroworld the night before, where 8 people died and 300 others were injured. This was due to a lot of factors, but the main one being crowd crush. Crowd crush is when a huge crowd of people occupies a small space and everyone gets too close together and inadvertently starts pushing on each other, which suffocates people in the middle. They die from asphyxiation. Crowd crush is an agonizing and horrible death, which unfortunately 8 people suffered yesterday at his concert. I made a video going over this, and since then there's been a few people that went to my Twitch streams just to say Travis Scott did nothing wrong and bears no responsibility and called me a cuck. And I swear to God, if I have to read one of those brainlet takes one more time, I'm gonna go sicko mode. I will say again, while Travis Scott wasn't responsible for the conditions that caused the horrible crowd management and the crowd crushing, he had ample opportunity to pause the concert or stop the show altogether. People were saying Travis Scott didn't know what was going on, so had no reason to stop the concert. So I guess they just think Travis Scott is the dumbest man on the planet who performs with his eyes closed. I don't know. Because if you just look at the pictures taken from the stage or some of the video from the stage, you can literally just see an ambulance going across the crowd because there's ambulances at all times throughout the concert because people were dropping over unconscious, literally dropping like flies. You were statistically more likely to die at the Travis Scott concert than you were shark attack, lightning strike, fucking driving in a destruction derby. Like, it was a lot of people falling unconscious and an ambulance pretty much at all times in the crowd. And the crowd, of course, dancing on top of the ambulance, all of which was visible from the stage. And also the crowd was begging the organizers as well as screaming at Travis to stop the concert. But even still, let's assume all of that. Travis didn't see the ambulance. He didn't see or hear anyone begging him to stop the concert. There is a clip that I mentioned in my video where Travis Scott literally tells security to get one of the unconscious bodies out of there. He noticed that one of the guys was fallen unconscious or something. He asked security to get him out. Security is crowd surfing the guy's body out of the venue as Travis Scott is watching and singing at the body, literally giving it a walk-off song. Travis Scott knew people were falling unconscious, as evident from that one clip alone, and he still chose not to pause, take a break, or stop the concert. He bears a lot of responsibility, and Travis Scott has stopped concerts before for much less. There's a very popular clip that's now floating around where Travis Scott crowd surfed and got his shoes taken, and he stopped the concert on the spot to spit on the guy that took his shoes and tell the crowd to beat his ass. So Travis Scott has stopped concerts for his shoes, but doesn't stop it for the loss of life. So he values shoes more than people's lives, I guess, more than his fans' lives. That's the impression I get. Travis Scott bears responsibility, accept it, stop defending him, stop huffing that copium. Now with that being said, let's check out his apology video.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience.
Man, you can tell this clip is serious because he put the black and white filter on it. Fuck. You can tell it's really getting to him. This whole apology video looks like he was just woken up out of a deep slumber and forced to make this by like his lawyer or something. Like, hey, get the fuck out of bed, we need you to make an apology video. And he's like still asleep. He's like, oh fuck, okay. Hey guys, sorry. And then he's like rubbing his face really hard, hoping to get 1 or 2 tears to come out, but they just won't fall. He can't get the tears flowing. It seems more like he's annoyed than sad. Like, this is how I react when my dog takes a shit on the carpet. It's like, ugh, fuck, it's on the carpet, which means I'm gonna need to use like nature's miracle or something to get it off, and it's gonna be a big mess. Oh, Jesus.
Anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need,
Yeah, but you didn't. You did identify someone who was unconscious. You identified someone's lifeless body and told security to get out of there. And then you started singing to the body and then continued on the show. Like, you immediately just went into a song. So, I mean, you did identify it. And, I mean, I guess you got them the help they needed, getting them crowd surfed out of there. But you didn't stop the show. Even after finding that, you still continued.
I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department, everyone to, help us figure this out. So if you have any information, please just contact your local authorities.
Yeah, every single person involved in Astro World here needs to be held accountable. The second people started breaking through security checkpoints and climbing fences to flood the venue, they should have taken precautions to pause the concert, delay it, or something, because they were not equipped to handle that capacity, and this is the natural result of that. It's a true fucking tragedy, and everybody, Travis Scott included, needs to be held accountable for what happened here. Now, I did read reports that there was someone who injected a security guard with a needle, which caused the security guard to pass out. I don't know if there was some kind of, like, fucking supervillain there injecting people with something, but even if that was the case and not everything was related to Crowd Crush, there was still plenty of people recognizing all of these unconscious bodies and should have stopped the concert. If anything, that would be more reason to stop the concert, and they still chose not to, which is an even higher level of negligence.
Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. And I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
As is standard practice for apology videos, there isn't an apology. There's no I'm sorry. It's crazy. Every single fucking apology video ever, for some reason, lacks the most basic apology. A simple I'm sorry. Nothing. None of that present here. And I just wanted to go over it. It's not like a very informative video or anything like interesting, but it just shows how disconnected celebrities are, that this seemed like a good idea to him. At no point do I get the impression he truly cares about what happened. It seems more like he's worried about potential lawsuits that he's going to face. And not potential, the inevitable lawsuits that he and his team will face. It seems like something that he was forced to make, as is pretty clear by how uninterested he looks in the video. And it's so baffling. Why even bother at this point? He made a Twitter statement. Why did he even bother making this when he clearly doesn't seem to care that much? He doesn't even take responsibility at all. So, I mean, I just wanted to at least show this since he did post this apology video on Instagram. And yeah, that's about it. So, yeah.